People, Deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all doing well and safe this Monday morning. I'm probably giving it away what time it is, people. It's 7:30 really, and you can see I'm still asleep, and that's poor. Now later today, Chelsea and Arsenal face each other in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge. 8:15 kickoff, I believe, for those of you who don't know. Don't trust my word for it. Please tap in on Google because I could be wrong, but either way, we'll deal with that clash when we get there. I'll review that game when we get there. But in relation to this morning, there's some things I've come across on the internet, and I think I might as well just go through them, if nothing more, just a talking point. And a comment from Wenger, I've seen him make some comments in relation to Arsenal lost their soul. We lost our soul moving from Highbury to the Emirates, specifically, you know, how close we were to the fans. And I do think people look at Highbury with rose tints, because although I only went there a handful of times as a kid, that didn't take me the most of times. I do remember while it was buzzing and noisy, I do have to question what Arsenal fans, to a degree, are on about, because it weren't exact. Highbury was buzzing and jumping, but it had its own atmosphere issues to a slight degree as well. I'm sure my older heads that can more remember vividly will know what I'm on about. Clearly, though, what's not in debate is Highbury was a dramatically better stadium than the Emirates. Of course, the Emirates is bigger. Of course, the facilities, technology are more advanced and things. But the soul, Highbury, what it meant to us, you look at even the 06 run, what Highbury was, it was a fortress essentially for the Champions League. Come on, we shut out Real Madrid and them teams there. How many special moments were there at Highbury? Countless that we could sit there. Can't say countless memories and not mention Thierry Henry. Highbury had soul. Obviously, I came up to Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira sort of generation. Those of you who are older than me can remember Tony Adams in his prime, Bergkamp in his prime, all of these Ian Wright in his prime. Well, Ian Wright's probably, if you're probably about in your 30s, you know about him. I only saw Ian Wright's career winding down. I never saw him in his prime. I'm born in 95. There's nothing I can do. But either way, there's mad legends in it. Wenger's gone and said, we moved from Highbury, which was similar to Anfield, but there was a soul to the stadium. We built a new stadium, but we never found our soul. We left our soul at Highbury. And do you know what? If we're completely honest, it's not on the fans. There is an atmosphere problem and stuff. But why we have no souls? Because of one man, Stan Kroenke. We sold our soul. Arsenal shareholders, one by one, sold themselves down the road and sold the club's soul to a man who, from a business, if it was purely business, you can't help but admire him. In terms of sport and what sport does and how capturing it is for people and all the stuff, then there's no way around it. Stan Kroenke is a dictator. He's a liar, similar to Deluded talking about Bayern Munich level moving to the Emirates. He's an underachiever in that he doesn't want to win Premier Leagues. He doesn't want to, things like that. It's only going to take a couple of seasons where he's seeing it now, where he's feeling it in his pockets, and he's starting to think, yo, we need to get rid of managers. We need to get into the Champions League. It comes from the top down. Kroenke never wanted to be a winner. This club stopped being Arsenal Football Club and became a real business the moment Stan Kroenke started buying shares in this club. That is why we are here. We're also here because obviously Highbury moving to the Emirates marked a change of expectations. Obviously towards the end of our time at Highbury, we weren't winning Premier League titles of such. Our last trophy was in 05. We didn't do bits in 06. We had some title challenges of sorts in the Emirates, if you can say that. But the expectation, the type of player and everything, it's been nonsense really. Really and truly, we lost our soul. There's one thing I won't say you're responsible for, Wenger, is the soul. You're responsible for, in part, well, a large part of the underachievement. I'd say where Wenger, as much as I love Wenger, where Wenger went wrong, and I'm not going to say if Wenger stepped down, we could have got Klopp and we could have got Pep and it would have changed our destiny. But at a point, we could have potentially got both of them. And Wenger, Stan lost his soul. Stan sold the soul. Not care about this club. Deluded is just a dud. I love Arsene Wenger. He's a great manager. You lot know me. I'm always singing his praises. But the reason as to why Arsenal's been is because for years he failed to, get rid of his love for Arsenal and what's best for the club. And towards the end of his tenure here, he had a very tough time distinguishing what's good for Arsene Wenger and what's good for Arsenal. And there's no way around it. It is a degree of selfishness. There is no way around it. We did lose our soul, and it'll be a long way till we get it back. Really, moving away from that, I hope you're all paying attention to Ajax, because you're seeing Ryan Greven back has made 2 performances played 2 good performances in the first team for them now. The 17-year-old seems to be making inroads, and I love him in central midfield. He's got a lot to learn, but what I like about him is his movement off the ball. He comes alive in the final third, and I think he's got a goal or 2 now, so he's done his thing. PSV's None Madueke, I heard, made his debut as well, although I didn't watch the game, so that would be decent. Arteta made some comments in relation to today's game against Chelsea. He said, it's really important if we want to fight for the top 4 places tomorrow we win. Top 4 is gone, but you hear internally the club probably still believe some players believe they can get it, because you hear Pepe saying it's difficult, but no, it's not impossible. Arteta has said this comment, we're how many points off the top 4, people? Like, it's I know I like how the way Arteta's saying, and we do kind of need to win to keep top 4 hopes alive, people, but it's done now. Like, it's done. All the players need to do, they don't even need to think about top 4. Just think of Chelsea, the fact that you ain't won at Stamford Bridge, the fact that come the 90th minute you don't want to be part of negative statistics anymore, which boosts Chelsea's good record against Arsenal at the Bridge, people. Now, we're not here by mistake. We're here by design. We're here for years of mismanagement. So there's a reason. Like, we're not here. We're 10th. Obviously, we're on 29 points. Chelsea are 10 points ahead of us with 39. So it's a bit of a myth, people. Like, you're wishing on a lot, 10 or so points, 10, 11 points, if I read correctly, off the top 4. And yeah, we can keep saying other teams are dropping points, and a lot of that's true, but it's like we've known for a number of years. Like, I definitely know, and you definitely know, we are on top of the obvious issues at Arsenal. We are our own biggest enemies. There's no point talking about other teams dropping points and consistently dropping points if our team can't go 3, 5, potentially 10 games without losing, or in this matter drawing. Now it doesn't matter who else is dropping points, because for the last few years we haven't got top 4, not because people, as poor as we've been, not been massively better than us. It's because we shoot ourselves in the foot with not bringing in the right recruitment, not addressing areas that has been problems. A big part is obviously the players underperforming, but taking as long as it did to clip Emre and seeing that Emre wasn't the guy did play a part. And in hindsight, we got our summer wrong. Beyond recruitment, there was no real training drills to improve us defensively under Emre, and has been. And the club, obviously, I'm not going to obviously we brought Pepe and stuff, but an elite centre-half was not brought into this club, and the board have to take responsibility. So you don't make things happen, you stay where you are, essentially. And Arteta's went on and said, I don't look at next season at all. I just look at what we can do to get better, and what happens next season is only going to be a consequence of what we're able to do this season. And that's in the most articulate way everything I'm talking about. We can't win leagues. Top 4 is a myth. Bare things aren't going to change for us overnight. But the players need to remember this feeling. Remember what it feels to hear fans question your ability, your pride, your desire to win trophies, the media as well. Remember what it feels like to drop points and to fail. Remember this feeling and use it to drive you on in training, so you do an extra lap. Because the fear of failure is what should motivate these players. And I don't think they're motivated by that fear of underachieving. For years, it's been too easy to play for a number of clubs, specifically Arsenal. Every fibre and effort you put in under Arteta now, next season it could be something if you truly buy in, if you truly, if the club do everything, learn what you can learn, really apply yourselves. Like he said, through defending better, through, able to play with tenacity for 60 minutes without being tired, from obviously addressing the obvious areas within this side, both tactically and recruitment-wise, it would only be a consequence of good work next season, will only be a consequence of us looking to address areas this year. And that's 100% facts from Arteta. In relation to Ozil, he said, the demands that we have put on him are to make the difference every single game. To do that, he needs the right structure and players around him to help him do that. And on one hand, I am quite, as much as I like Ozil, I'm tired of talking about he needs midfielders so he can stay up the field. He needs strikers, he needs runners. We know this, innit? Ozil does need all of that. He does need all of that, but clearly he also needs structure to do his thing. I think we're past it. He's 30 odd years of age now. Obviously, like every player, like it's simple. It's like Aubameyang would score more goals if you give him service. Do you get it? Lacazette needs balls into feet, not necessarily in behind, because he's not the quickest. So obviously there's things that help other players and whatnot. Arteta's also said, we cannot waste these 4 months just thinking about next season, because the hurry of a big club is now, not in the summer. And that's facts. Obviously, Arteta's no idiot. Top four, any ambitions, any significant improvement under Arsenal can't happen. But we can't just waste away, just going, living in the motion, living in the moment, going through the motions, just hoping for next season to start. Because unless they put in the work, what is going to change? Like, nothing. You take it from an Arsenal fan, you see my team sign a centre-half in like each of the last 3 years, and there's still been no change. So Arteta is 100% correct on that. He's also said, which is obvious, failure to qualify for Europe in any form would be a big concern for everybody. So that's not just Champions League, that's the prospect of Europa. If we finish 7th in the league, I swear we've got Europa League qualifiers. And if you're honest as an Arsenal fan, 5th/6th is all Arsenal fans could potentially hope for this season, which again is poor. Martinelli's been in contact with Ian Wright, or more so Ian Wright's been in contact with him. He's more or less said that they've broadly texted and, you know, offered his calm little words of advice, and I like to hear that from Ian Wright, man, especially with the strikers. He was working at Leeds with Eddie, little texts of encouragement to Martinelli, bigging up John Jules, John Jules, after he's obviously scored his first goal for Lincoln. It's lovely to see that. And for them young G's there, whether you've just been brought into the club like Martinelli or homegrown lads like Eddie fought via Chelsea, and actually John Jules via Charlton once upon a time, it's encouraging to hear, and it'll give you motivation and believe in yourself. Obviously Martinelli is eligible for Brazil/Italy, to play for Brazil or Italy, in which I'm sure from a sporting prospect for Arsenal it'd be better if he plays for Italy, because he's got the prospect of the 2020 Olympics with Brazil coming up. Allegedly, Arsenal have said he's not going, and club versus country, listen, if I'm Martinelli and I really want to go, I'm actually livid at Arsenal, but from a selfish club point of view, he's one of our best players. We need him for the campaign. Arteta's actually said, though, in relation to representing Italy instead of Brazil, and I think his words are interesting. He said, that would be ideal. It's up to him. He has his feelings and needs to make his decision on what he wants. It's up entirely to him. But if he can play around the corner, it would be even better. So yeah, clearly that's in relation to when European countries play their tournaments and vice versa. Arteta's had something to say on Ozil again. Well, I forgot to mention these comments. He said, in relation to his lack of goals, I think he could have had more assists and probably more goals in games he's played under me, which has been a little bit unlucky. But overall, I think that his performances has improved a lot. His performances have improved. I think Arteta's being very smart, because he's letting us know there that he should have had more goals and more assists because he's been in them positions. And I think privately he's told Ozil that. But yeah. Moving forward, Lacazette's comments, I think I've spoken about them in a previous vid, but nonetheless, we might as well review them again. He said, we are quite naive at the moment. We need to be nastier and more consistent in the 90th to 93 minutes of matches, especially when we can do better than this. We have the players required. It's a shame. And he went on to say, in relation to Sheffield United, they were not very dangerous, but this match summarises how we are this season. We are winning the match, but don't get over the line. And I hear that, and he said it in basically all words. But you can win a game like you've seen with Arsenal. You can win a game from the first minute to the 87th or 81st or whenever it was against Chelsea before throwing it away. All that matters is come 90 minutes, who scored the most goals, who takes the 3 points. And we are very naive, and it always annoyed, not Lacazette necessarily, but when you look at Lacazette, Ozil, Mustafi, Xhaka, Socrates, Luiz, Bellerin on the basis of experience, Leno to a degree. I'm not blaming any of these players or putting the foot at the foot of our failings at the result of our failings at their feet. Better yet, apologies, people. But what I am saying is that a lot of these are experienced individuals, have played for big clubs, including Arsenal, have played many times for their countries. Just as professional footballers, they've played over a couple hundred career appearances. They're smart enough to know what things they're doing right and wrong. So to hear that they're still naive is a bit booky, especially apologies from these experienced lads. But I've got nothing more to say, so I'm going to get out of here. People, as usual, it's always a pleasure speaking to you lot. Until later when we play Chelsea. People, DG.